again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Acoustic Northeast, bringing you the singers, songwriters, and acoustic music scene of the Northeast
U.S.
We talk about the music scene and topics that affect the artist. We interview singer-songwriters who play live for us in studio, and our studio is located in historic Brewster, New York. I am co-host George Malice.
And I am other co-host Dave Goldenberg, and we're brought to you today by hearitthere.com, where you can find everything you want to know about what's happening musically in the tri-state. Also by Hudson Harding Folk Radio Promoters. All you folkies, that's where you need to go to get your songs on the radio. And WBXO Internet Radio, that's WBXO, what's the...
.com.
WBXO.com, streaming classic rock and other great stuff, including this podcast 24 hours a day on the internet.
And you can listen to our show wherever you get your podcasts. And please subscribe. Also, we're on YouTube and acousticnortheast.com. We post the song performances of our guests on YouTube. And you can also listen to our Acoustic Northeast Spotify playlist. Today in studio, we have a wonderful singer-songwriter, Louise Coombe. Louise, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to have you, and we would love for you to kick off the show with a song.
Well,
can you
right.
tell us what you're going to play?
Well, I'm going to play a song that I wrote several years ago now that's on my newest album, Paris, that produced by Cliff Eberhardt, that I made in Northampton, Massachusetts a couple of years ago. And this is the first track on the album, and it's called October. One day every autumn, a certain breeze blows by, a cold kiss of winter in a clear blue sky, a whisper, a warning, a shot across the bow. It's the turning of the world going around. October in New England, leaves falling right on time. Every view like a painting, every breeze a baby sigh. You will never be mine. Summer's giving up her lovers, one petal at a time. And maybe love is overrated, says my second glass of wine. You will never be mine. Oh, saw an ad in the paper, gave me the blues. A wedding dress for sale, never used. And Sunday crossword sits unfinished, with winter close behind. Oh, honey, we were never overrated, says my third glass of wine. You will never be mine. You will never be mine. You'll never be mine. You'll never be mine.
That's Louise Coombe. Welcome to the podcast. We are so glad to have you. I can't tell you how much I love listening to your voice.
Thank you so much.
It sounds really well trained, but not with any manner of artifice to it. How did you learn to sing so beautifully?
Thank you. That's very kind. I did take a lot of vocal lessons when I was in my 20s. Believe it or not, I was painfully shy as a kid, and I literally didn't start singing until I was out of college. And I did take lessons. I had some vocal lessons from a voice teacher in Knoxville, Tennessee, who's sadly not with us anymore, named Marianne. And she had me singing jazz standards and Italian arias to try to train my voice and train technique.
That's where I went wrong, George. I skipped the part about doing the arias.
Hey, you know what?
Never
That
too
stuff
late,
was really cool. I mean, it's very cool stuff to sing, but it's hard. And it does just sort of it trains your body, and your technique. You can't sing that stuff without being on point with your technique. And not to say that I was an expert at it, but it really did change the way I sang my own songs in concert. And so I think too, we are all influenced by somebody. I think I was influenced by Maria Muldaur and Nancy Griffith and others. And then you just kind of, as you grow and keep singing, you grow into your own voice. So it was a process.
Your writing, especially on the new album, which is called Paris, and for those of you who want to listen to Louise's music, the new album is under your previous name, Louise Coombe, Coombe.
That is my current name.
Correct. Well,
Yeah.
which was your maiden name.
Oh, my maiden name, yeah.
is what I meant.
Yeah.
But your other two albums, Home and Lay It Down, are under your former married name. So if people are looking for that,
Right.
tell them where they can find
So I put out a couple albums under the name Louise Masri. In 2010, the album Home, and 2014, Lay It Down. And so I have two different profiles on Spotify, and I try to let people know on those profiles that, hey, this is not the only stuff. But so it's Masri and then it's Coombe. So anyway, yeah, you can. But it's all under, like if you go to louisemasri.com, it redirects you to louisecoombe.com.
Yeah.
So I'm there. I'm out there.
I wanted to talk to you about your songwriting, and especially on this album, you've got a few co-writes going on. Tell the audience about that.
So back in 2022, at the very end of the year, I started co-writing with a folk icon and legend, Tom Paxton. I had met Tom Paxton at Swannanoa Gathering in North Carolina through my partner, Cliff Eberhardt. They taught together at the camp. And Tom and I became friends, and he kind of took me under his wing a little bit and was coaching me on songwriting. And then he said, hey, during the pandemic, a lot of, everything went online. Everything became virtual. And Tom started co-writing with people like John McCutcheon and Tim O'Brien and others online. And so he asked me, he said, hey, kid, you want to try co-writing sometime? And so I was like, are you kidding? Sure. So we started co-writing every Friday morning that we're both home. And we have written many songs together, and 3 of them ended up on the album.
Yeah, so what's that process like a little bit?
So Tom's process is very different from mine. It's interesting. Co-writing is something I started when I was living in Nashville. And it's one of those things where you either get along with the person, like you mesh as writers, or you don't. It's sort of like having a relationship. I mean, there's either you can come away from it going, nah, this is not working. Or you feed off each other and you end up writing stuff. And so Tom's method of writing is he's so creative and he's so smart. He just pulls ideas out of thin air, and for me, I'm more internal. Like I have to sort of go away and be very quiet and get very inside, to write. And he just sort of plucks things out of midair. So it's a challenge for me only because that's not my method of writing, but it's great for me in that it challenges me to step up and write on the fly and try to pluck things out of midair and trust instinct and trust, the ideas that are coming, that let them flow, you know what I mean, in the moment. That's where co-writing can be really interesting. So so the songs that are on the CD are the ones where we really went back and forth, and wrote the whole song like pretty quickly. So yeah, it was just.
It's great that Tom Paxton is still going strong. He must be in his 80s right now.
He is 88.
He's 88.
Yeah, Cliff and I went to his birthday party last fall at the Birchmere in Virginia, which is a great club. And he does a birthday show because he was born on Halloween. It's every Halloween. And he called it his piano birthday, his 88th. and it was just a blast to see him still out there. He could still sing, he could still play. He's very, he's just really a vibrant guy. And but he has retired from the road. The travel became too much, but he writes every single day with a different co-writer, like Monday through Friday. Like I'm his Friday 10 a.m. right, and then he has someone else at 11 a.m. So
sounds like fun, actually.
Yeah, so he's just on Zoom, every morning with somebody, trying to knock out another song. He's amazing.
As our listeners can hear from what we up here would call an accent, you're not from the Northeast.
I ain't from around here.
So tell us about where you grew up and about your musical childhood.
So I grew up in Middle Tennessee, about an hour outside of Nashville on a farm. My parents are transplants from England. They're immigrants. My dad worked for DuPont. My mom was a homemaker, and we're 5 of us kids, and we grew up out in the country. So my parents had British accents, and then I just picked up what was around me. So I had a British accent until I was 4.
That's not a British accent now?
No.
Southern England.
Yeah, Southern England. That's right. Yeah. So, but my early musical influences are just the radio. I mean, I was just obsessed with the radio from age 3 on. As soon as I could reach the knob to turn it on, I just was in it.
You have a musical family?
No. No, my mother could sing a little. My dad is a mathematician of sorts, and so he showed me the piano once in a mathematical kind of way, of which I was not interested at all. I was like, "What? That's crazy!" Like I don't, but so he was interested in it math-wise. My mother sang, but there's nobody that really worked on an instrument or anything.
You've written a lot about what you know, which is the South. And, there's, I think your biggest song, I guess, on Spotify is Blair Mountain?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that and how that evolved and where that came from.
So the song is called The Battle of Blair Mountain, and that evolved out of a co-writing experience in Nashville. I was singing at an open mic, writer's night kind of thing, right on the main drag West End. And a publisher approached me after he heard me sing and said, I have a writer in my stable of writers that I think you would write well with. And, I was new to Nashville, and I was like, great, I would love to, I was always looking for co-writing opportunities. So he introduced me to a guy named Mike Richardson, who was from Southern West Virginia. And Mike and I would get together every 2 weeks. He worked at the Gap factory, and I worked at, where did I work? I guess I worked at, back then I was working at I was working at a wine store just to make, money part-time. And so he and I would meet in the evenings every couple of weeks and try to write. And he came in one day, he didn't write music, he wrote lyrics. So he came in one day and he has this whole notebook of ideas, right? And so we flipped through the notebook and he would read me ideas and I would go, that one. I'd wait to feel like a zing, like a physical, visceral zing. And I would go, that one, let's do that one. And so he came in one day and he said, well, I was watching TV last night and I found out where the word redneck came from. And he said, and we were like, oh, okay. So, because right at that time, it was like 2006, 2007, something like that. And Redneck Woman was on the radio. It was a big hit and everybody was a redneck on the radio. I mean, the country radio was awash in rednecks. And so it just kind of caught his ear. And he said, well, I was watching the History Channel and they were talking about the coal mining wars in West Virginia back in the 1920s. And they called themselves rednecks, people who identified with the Union effort. I was like, oh, okay. So I just was like, and I had seen the John Sayles movie, Matewan, years ago when I was in college, and it just stuck with me. I love that movie. And so I had a lot of that imagery in my head from the movie. And then I said, okay, well, let's, I always brought my laptop and I crack out the computer and we start doing some research. And he was talking about the Battle of Blair Mountain. So we looked it up and everything. And it turns out that the word redneck was from the red bandanas they would wear around their necks to show that they were members of the Union effort. And the red was a wink to the communist revolution that was going on in Russia at the same time. So I thought it was hysterical that the word redneck had communist ties, and nobody in the Nashville writing community seemed to know or care. And that's, cool or whatever. But, we just kept researching it, and I found lines like there's a line in the song in the chorus, put your Bibles down and pick up your guns. That's not my line. That was what the preacher said the Sunday before the Battle of Blair Mountain when their sheriff, who was part of the Union effort, he was shot in broad daylight on the steps of the courthouse square by one of the mine owners' thugs that were trying to dissuade the organization of miners. And so it was such a brazen and awful moment of violence that the whole town was in an uproar. And the preacher said that morning, boys, I think it's time we put down our Bibles and pick up our guns. And I'm like, that's going in the song, So yeah, I was looking, I'm looking for ideas. I'm looking for images. I'm looking for lines. I'm looking for dialogue that can tell the story. And it's interesting because we just wrote it from that point of view. Like, I just loved the story and I loved the movie, and it was fascinating. It was also a story that's not been told much. Like in West Virginia, the schools suppress the telling of that history. And it's really not been discussed. I mean, no one's done a movie on the Battle of Blair Mountain, which is incredible. There were 14,000 men that went to go fight with mine owners, and nobody talks about it. And the American government dropped bombs on these people from the air.
That's unbelievable.
None of them exploded. They found some mines in the woods. Yes. Nobody has done a movie or talked about it, right? So you don't hear about Blair Mountain. 1921.
Wow. Where were we?
So I don't know. We're probably getting way off on this tangent here. But
that's okay. But we want you to play another song.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I love that there's, folk songs have a lot of really fascinating stories in them if you listen closely.
And Louise is quite a storyteller.
Yeah.
In her music.
Thank you. I just am interested in that, and so interestingly, the song has gotten picked up by pro-labor groups on Spotify. So that's why I went to go look at Spotify one day because I don't even really look at it. And all of a sudden I noticed that the one song that gets all most plays is the Blair Mountain song. And it's because it's all these pro-labor playlists. And I was like, what? That is crazy. And then in 2021, NPR used this song on their broadcast because they were they actually did a piece on the 100th anniversary of the Battle of Blair Mountain. Find a vein and drain the black gold, hoping to God that the timbers hold. Like my father before me, it's all I know. We live only to harvest the coal, to harvest the coal. Mine owner's mercy, about as shallow as a grave. We're living in shanty towns, ain't got no say. 14-hour shifts in such a meager wage, and Mother Jones can't help us now anyway. In a way. father still buried in the mine. I fight for my son so he'll have a better life. We're soldiers of the Great War, and it don't seem right to treat a man like a dog just to make a dime, just to make a dime. We'll take the roads, we'll take the trains by force. Oh, Lord, from the gathering storm. Lay down your Bibles, take up your guns, Blair Mountain. Here we come, oh, here we come. Yeah, here we come. So find a vein and drain the black gold. You better hope to God that those timbers hold.
Louise Coombe, Battle of Blair Mountain. What a great song from what a great story.
Thanks.
So you kind of broke through in 2010 with your album Home. It was a success. People set up and took notice. But everything is changing technologically in our world. What is success for a folk singer these days?
Great question. I think for me, success is, it has changed. It is, I don't even know what success commercially is anymore for songwriters. To me, the only thing I focus on is trying to write a good song. That's it. I have no control over the rest of it. None. Like, I mean, I don't know if what I'm going to write is going to hit, is going to connect with the zeitgeist. All that stuff is luck. And it's, yeah, you can hire people to promote. You've got to, and that takes capital, which is a whole other discussion, right? So, because you don't just get picked up by radio anymore. You don't get,
Right.
You don't get picked up by television, and we're not all listening to the same music. Everything is so niche oriented now.
So do you write for yourself, or do you write for, and I'll put it in air quotes, which you can't see on the radio, success?
No, I write for myself, without a doubt. When I was in Nashville and I was co-writing with my friend Mike and other people I was writing with, often the publisher would come in and go, you guys gotta write more commercial. You gotta write more commercial. Like, you heard that Blair Mountain song, and he goes, I can't do anything with that, and he couldn't. It's not that somebody like an Americana couldn't cut that, because they could, and I think it would work, but he just didn't hear it for country commercial radio. So we would try. We would sit down and try to write commercial country, which is a whole other animal, and people do it and they're really great at it. And I know several writers in Nashville that are great at it. I'm terrible at it. The more I tried to write like that, the worse it got. And in fact, the funniest moment for me, a real aha moment, was when I finished writing a song with Mike, and it was the worst piece of crap I'd ever written. It was so schmaltzy. It was called Southern Fire. And just like that. And it was awful. But I wanted to write like a big country ballad, So that's what it was. And it was Southern Fire. And there was lots of big singing and everything. And I hated that song with the heat of 10,000 suns. And that publisher came in and said, that's the best song y'all have ever written. And I went, I'm done. I hate that song. I would never play it. No one will ever hear me sing it. And yet he loved it. So, it's just one publisher. I'm just saying that, and there are great country songs being written all the time. I'm just saying, like, for me, trying to write to the radio was a disaster. Yeah. I just think that's
no satisfaction in it for you.
Not for me.
Right.
I can't speak for other people.
Well, you've won a lot of songwriting contests. I think there's an importance there today for the singer-songwriter to get recognition also.
No, the songwriting contests, as brutal and kind of bizarre as they can be, because being competitive with art is really, really weird. It does open a door. I mean, I entered the Kerrville New Song folk singing contest for 10 years before I got in. And after I got in, the doors, some other doors opened. I was able to play and tour and sing full time. And that was, back in 2009. So it definitely does make a difference. It just sometimes can be a lot of no fun. So
I find your music from 2010, from the home album to I thought there was like a big change going to Lay It Down, and also to the new one, to Paris. What's been the difference there? Has it been? I know.
Well,
has it been working with Cliff Eberhardt?
Yeah.
And I know,
sure.
and I know that you guys, he's your partner, and you guys talk songwriting and chord progressions all the time.
Yeah.
And you teach some songwriting too. You do some camps.
I do very, very little teaching. That's not really my strong point. I have done some vocal coaching. I have done, I did a workshop on storytelling, songwriting, last week, a couple weeks ago. But it's not really something I do a whole lot of. I don't know. But yeah, so as I progressed in my writing, I've always just been a writer, like not stuck to a genre. I mean, I used to write in more of a pop format before I wrote in an Americana format, and now I've gone back to a little bit more of a pop format. So, and I've brushed up against jazz and I've brushed up against bluegrass, but I don't really fit into anything. But yeah, so when I met Cliff Eberhardt in 2000, we met in 2009, but we didn't start dating until several years later. And his, if you know anything about his writing, he's extremely well versed in music, like just all the American standards. He understands, the straight line between Irving Berlin and the Beatles. And it's just, we started a conversation in 2012 and it's still happening. And so I've learned a lot and try to absorb as much as I can. And it definitely has influenced my writing because, the more chord vocabulary you have and the more knowledge of music and progressions and melody, the better your songs will be, I think.
Yeah, you've always been melodic.
I think you can have a sensibility of melody. I mean, it definitely, I didn't grow up on folk music. I grew up on pop music. So, you singing in the shower and singing with my favorite singers. Yeah. You sort of develop a melodic sensibility, that I think is probably innate. I'm not sure. I think you can develop it. I don't know, but I've been singing since I was 3 years old. So, but you can learn to write melodies more deliberately, and that's what I'm trying to do now. So the progression of Home being very Americana, very stripped down, sort of country almost, and then Lay It Down was a little bit more into a singer-songwriter realm, still quite folky, but very stripped down. And then years later, I came out with Paris, where I really had sort of stretched out some chord, a little bit more imaginative chord progressions. So,
it's a beautiful album. They're all beautiful. But
Louise Coombe, thank you for joining us. I get choked up when I hear you sing, I guess what that is. Thank you for joining us on the pod today. It's been great to see you and listen to you. And we'd like you to take us out with a song. Tell us what you're going to play.
Let's see. Oh boy. I'm going to play a co-write that I wrote with the great Tom Paxton. And so we met and we decided to write a song about how we both rode horses as kids, and he asked me about my horse, and her name was Nameless Lady. We called her Nameless Lady, an Appaloosa roan. Boss mare of the herd, she was mine and mine alone. Friend and confidant, and I was 10 at the time. Nobody owned Nameless, she was still mine. Into the woods we'd ride, over fences and fallen trees. Old Indian trails past the hives of the honeybees. Across the creek we'd wade, up the hill we'd climb. Nobody owned Nameless, but she was still mine. When days stretched out forever, and all my dreams were there within my reach. Gift of circumstance on just this side of never, where beauty exceeded the power of speech. I whispered to Nameless, hey girl, the bad guys are coming. Straight down the path we'd run, away now, away. Quick as lightning now, close to the tree line. Nobody owned Nameless, she was still mine. Now as the years go by, I think about her still. Strong and dignified, she called to me across the field, and I'd give the whole